Good morning, and welcome to Workforce Skills with John Morris. It's another beautiful morning in Phoenix, Arizona on Monday. There's a lot of talk out there about the eclipse that's happening today, which, be honest with you, I could care less about. We got work to do. We got things that need to happen. Dealing with a Monday, scheduling, we're focused on work. We do have to think about what's happening around us sometimes, but ultimately, at the end of the day, we have a job to do. So a couple things I want to go over this morning today, and we're kind of set up a little bit different here, a little more casual, relaxed. I want to talk about 10 things that require zero talent. And this is something that we originally did not have in our curriculum when we started the vocational program. It was one of our students that brought it to me and made me aware of it. He had been doing some personal growth, some research, and he gave this to me, and we kind of added it into it. We thought it would be a good fit. And it's amazing how true and real this is. So I'm going to run down the list here. Number one, being on time. I'm a firm believer you're only on time if you're 10 minutes early. It's being on time doesn't take any talent. It just takes waking up, showing up, doing what you need to. We've talked about this previously about being at work on time. If you're clocking in at 7 o'clock, be there 10 minutes early. Have your tools in your hands ready to go. That way, when you walk on the job site at 7 o'clock, you're ready to start working and doing your thing. Number two, making an effort. How hard is it just to make an effort? Showing up, doing what you need to, putting in a little extra. Show the effort. Try to get better every day. Every day, I want to get better than I was the day before. Some guys say, oh man, it's difficult in our business with painting. How do I learn? How do I get better? What can I do to improve myself? If you are constantly improving and you can improve 1% of your skill set every week, by the end of the year, you've improved 52%. There's 52 weeks in a year. Think about it. It's that simple. It's not difficult. It's just wanting to do it, showing the effort. Number three, being high energy. I'm not saying you got to be bouncing off the walls or, you got to be the guy that's always the happiest on the job site. But being of high energy, being there, willing to do the extra work, being energetic when you be there, be happy to be at work, show that you care about your job and you're willing to do what you need to do. Number four, having a positive attitude. Man, there is nothing worse than someone that's going to be negative all day long. Had a bad day at home the day before, had a bad weekend, got in a fight with their girlfriend, their wife, their kids, whatever the case may be. There's nothing worse than a negative person. I'm telling you, negativity will breed negative situations. Positivity will breed positive situations. We have to think about that. And I know sometimes it's hard to be positive. I'm going through some stuff right now where I'm dealing with selling our house, moving, the finance company, the mortgage. It just... The inspection on the house, it's really difficult and it's very stressful. So going through this, how do you deal with these situations? It's hard to be positive all the time. But if we could strive to be positive, that's what'll make the difference. Number five, being passionate. Be passionate about your job. Enjoy what you do. I'm looking for guys that want to better themselves, want to do something more. Being passionate and enjoying what they're doing. If you're at a job and you don't like it, go somewhere else. No one says you have to stay at that job. Find something you enjoy and become good at it. Get better at it. Learn that skill, that trade, whatever you need to do. We had a guy that's been working for us, I think it was about a year, maybe year and a half. Came out of the program, came out of our vocational, went through the field as a painter, ended up becoming an estimator, working in the office. Really took care of him. He's on salary. He's been doing phenomenal for himself. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he up and quits. Says he's not happy there. Doesn't like painting. Well, social media said otherwise. He's now working for another painting company. Sometimes it might not just be the right company for you. We're not the best fit for everybody. I would have appreciated if he sat down and talked with me and told me what he was going through. And I would have had no hard feelings with him leaving and going somewhere else. I know a lot of friends that I have that are in the paint industry that I could have guided him towards if I knew what kind of work he was looking for. Maybe he didn't like the fast pace of our commercial business. Residential is a little bit more of a slow paced. It's more detailed. Everybody's going to find that they love painting or they love what they do, but they don't like the segment that they're in. Maybe they want to do residential over commercial or commercial over residential. So keep that in mind. Using good body language, number 6. Good body language says everything. It's how you sit, how you present yourself, how you carry yourself. When you're in an interview, can you look the guy in the eyes as you're speaking with him? Are you wandering around? Are you slouched in a chair? Are your arms crossed? All this is something we look at, and it's how you present yourself. How are you going to carry yourself? How do you walk? I'm looking for guys that are acting like they want to be here. That's what I'm looking for. So that body language tells me everything. Teaching class. During class, I'm looking at the guys sitting in front of me. I've taught classes of anywhere from 25 to 150 people. In these group sessions, I'm looking at the guys who's playing on their phone, who's doodling on a piece of paper, who's wearing sunglasses walking into the classroom. I don't allow that. Who's poking and joking with their neighbor. Let's pay attention. You're there for a reason. Number 7, being coachable. This one's huge for me. I want guys that are coachable. I want guys that are trainable, that are going to listen, that want to better themselves. If you're not coachable, you might not be a good fit for us, because we can all learn. Even me in the position I'm at as owner of the company, there's room for me to grow. I need to be coachable. I need to learn and listen to other people's advice. I need to pay attention when things aren't going the right way. I need to pay attention when someone brings something to me and says, hey, John, I think if we do it this way, it might work a little bit better. I can't be so hard-headed. This is my company. I'm going to do it my way. And, we need to be open to alternative ways to do things. And that's where I need to be open and I need to be coachable and listen. Number 8, doing a little extra. How hard is it to do just a little bit extra? How hard is it to do a little bit of work extra in a day? Let's say, for example, it's the end of the day. We've already worked 7 hours. We know we're off in an hour. We're not going to get the job done. But what if we stayed an extra hour? Instead of working 8 hours, we work 9 hours, we get the job done. How difficult is it to stay that extra hour? You're going to get paid for it. Ultimately, at the end of the week, if you're over 40 hours, that's going to be an hour of overtime. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to do what it takes to go a little bit extra to get the job done. That's how we have to look at things. A lot of guys come in a job or a position and they say, well, I'm not getting paid to do that. I'm not going to do that. Well, why not? Go the extra mile. Maybe you will get paid for it. You just haven't been noticed yet by the owner of the company or the supervisor or whoever's above you. Going that little extra will make you stand out. I'm telling you right now, everybody in my company that's moved up in position has done a little extra to get there. It didn't just happen overnight. It doesn't just happen. I didn't pick people because they sucked up to the boss or they did something above and beyond or they laughed at the boss's jokes. Or I'm looking for the guys that are going a little extra that want to do more. That's what we're looking for. Those are the guys that are going to move up in position. Those are the guys that are going to make extra money. Guaranteed. Number 9, being prepared. Be prepared when you come to work. It amazes me how many guys show up on a job and they don't have the proper tools. Or they didn't do their laundry over the weekend and they're not wearing a company shirt. Be prepared for what you need to do. We should always be prepared. And it doesn't matter whether it's work or in your personal life. Even in your personal life, be prepared for what you need to do. Be prepared for anything that's coming up. Pay your bills on time. Don't run out of groceries. Don't run out of laundry detergent. Make sure you're prepared for what's coming in front of you. You have to make sure you're prepared. Number 10, having a strong work ethic. If you don't have a strong work ethic, none of this matters because you're just not into it. You have to find that within yourself. You have to find a way to push yourself to show up to work, to have that work ethic. What are you going to do to be the best employee, the best version of you at the job site? In any business, we struggle as companies, as businesses out there. Every business will tell you their one struggle is having people show up on time and have a good work ethic and act like they want to be there. There's nothing worse than watching somebody wander around the job site, goof off, act like they don't want to be there. You can tell when someone wants to be at work and when they don't want to be at work. It's very, very obvious. So what are you doing to show that you have good work ethic? I'm telling you right now, these 10 things that require zero talent, this is what's going to make you a better employee. This is what's going to get you noticed. This is what's going to get you that raise. This is what happens within my company. It's interesting over the few weeks of doing this so far on these podcasts, some of the replies and responses I've been seeing to our podcast. Some guys are like, well, I never get noticed. And if I'm not sucking up to the boss, I'm not moving up in position. You're probably at the wrong place. Find a new company. Find a new job. Find a company that's going to care about their employees. I'm telling you right now, the only customer that matters to me is my employee first. After that, everything else comes. As business owners, and this goes to all the business owners and the people running companies out there, if you don't take care of your employee first, then your customers don't matter after that. Because if you can't take care of your employee, you obviously will not take care of your customers out there. And I know a lot of people say the customer's always right, the customer has to come first. Well, the customer doesn't matter if your employees aren't happy. If your employees aren't happy, they're not going to take care of your customer. As your companies grow and your businesses grow, and as you grow within these entities, these companies, and you're moving up in position, whether it's a superintendent, whether it's a lead person on the crew or estimator or someone working in the office, you have to take care of the people around you. If you can't respect them, if you can't take care of them, if you can't see them as the first line of defense, the first customer within that business, all the other customers out there that are paying the money for that company, you're going to lose those. I'm telling you right now, you have to take care of the people within your company. That's why I'm a firm believer on what we do. We're a family environment. We take care of our own. The people that work for me are going to be taken care of best. Right now, in the process of moving, I got 2 bicycles in my garage. My wife's and mine. I bought them 6 years ago. I've maybe ridden them 3 times. This weekend, I heard one of my guys doesn't have a car, but he wants to buy a bicycle. I'm going to give him one of these bikes. I'm taking care of my employees. I'm taking care of the guys around me. This is what it takes. I'm telling you, if you take care of the people around you, the people that work for you, they will take better care of your customers than you could ever imagine you could, because they're going to pay it forward. They're going to love working for you. They're going to love the environment that they're in. That's what we need to do. We as business owners, as companies, must look at our line of defense as our employees to take care of the customers as the first person we take care of, regardless of anything else. And there's no excuse on this. I'm telling you right now, you can't tell me anything otherwise than that. That's what has to come first. In doing that, you guys out there working for these companies as employees, if you're not happy, if they're not taking care of you, if they're not doing right by you and the customer, I'm telling you, don't work for that company. Find somebody else. It's not always, let's say here in Arizona, there's a flooring company that's massive. They just got sold out to a bigger conglomerate that is in the whole United States. And there's a lot of changes happening. There's a lot of things that are changing to where that company's not going to be a family environment anymore. It's not going to be where they take care of their employees better than the customers. So what's happening is a lot of these guys I've talked to that have come through our program that are working for this floor company are now asking me, John, hey, what do I do? I'm not happy here. I see things changing. Well, there's about 10 other companies out there that hire within the program. They're a lot smaller, but they're more family oriented. They're more focused on the employee as well as the customer. Well, it might be time to jump ship and go to those companies. That might be the best fit for them, the best place for them. So now they have to look at their situation and say, what's best for me? Does it mean they take a cut in pay? Does it mean that they get more money? I don't know at this point. Some of these smaller companies might not be able to pay the same amount of money. But if you're taking a dollar cut in your pay, but you're 10 times more happier, you got to weigh the pros and cons in this situation and see what's best for you. I'm going to tell you, for me, I want to be happy at work. I want to go to work knowing that I'm taken care of, that the boss cares about me or the owner cares about me within this company. I want to make sure that everything's in place to protect me. And at the end of the day, I know that the people I work for care for me. They're going to pay me well. I might not make the best amount of money that I want, but the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So stick with the company that is going to take care of you. You know, something else I want to talk about too for a lot of you guys out there, you know, as far as working for cash under the table, W-2 versus 1099, a lot of people out there don't understand what it means between a W-2 or 1099. They don't understand how the pay scales work when it comes to this situation. I'm going to tell you right now, do not work for somebody that's paying you cash under the table. That is just not going to work. You might feel like you're making more money at the moment, but in the end, what's going to happen is you're not paying taxes. You're not getting a paycheck stub. It's going to be difficult to buy a vehicle, to buy a house. You have to show proof of employment. You're not going to have that situation. And what that tells me is the guys that are paying you to do this, if they are a legitimate business and they're paying you cash under the table, they're cheating the system. First of all, they don't have to pay insurance on you. What happens if you're on a job site and let's say it's a residential house and you're a roofer and you're getting paid cash under the table and you fall off that roof and you hurt yourself? There is no insurance to cover you through that company. They do not have workman's comp. You're not considered an employee of that company. So what happens to you? You're out of work. Your medical's not getting paid for. You're not making money. You're going to suffer and hurt more than you would if you were working for a legitimate company that paid you a W-2, that's taking taxes out of your paycheck, that is required to pay workman's comp and insurance. As a company, I have to have insurance. I have to cover all my employees. If they get hurt on a job, I have to make sure they're taken care of and it's paid for. Now, there's a lot of guys out there, and it's amazing how many homeowners out there will hire a company that is the cheapest out there, not realizing they're paying their guys cash. But what they don't realize is if that guy falls off and he gets hurt, let's say someone falls off a roof and dies, breaks their neck and they're dead as a roofer. Now their family can come sue that homeowner because they were on their property and they're going to go after their homeowner's insurance. We have to protect ourselves. We have to protect you as an employee out there in a job. But you as the employee, most of all, must think about this. You've got to protect yourself. The money might seem great in that moment, at that time, but it's not the best option for you. You should not be doing this. Now, you might say, well, what about 1099? You know, I'm doing this and I'm going to pay my own taxes and I'm not worried about the insurance. Even as a 1099 employee, and what most people don't understand, and the Federal Labor Board will tell you this, as a 1099 employee, you must, in the state of Arizona especially, I know this for a fact, you must have your own health insurance and you must have your own license. You must have workman's comp and your own license. So if you get hurt on a job, you have to be covered. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of business owners are cutting corners and they are cheating, and it is illegal for them to pay you cash on the table or a 1099 if you're not another subcontractor. As a 1099, you're considered a subcontractor. That means you have to have your own license and you must have your own workman's comp. If you don't, it's illegal. It is not allowed. And that's per the Federal Labor Board in the United States. That's the law here. So how are you going to protect yourself moving forward? What are you going to do to make sure that you're working for a legitimate company? The second they offer to pay you 1099, don't do it. That years ago, I used to see that in the paint business. One guy would be paid 1099 and he would pay all his helpers. And so he gets a certain price to do the job. And then ultimately, he's paying these other guys. Don't know what he's paying the guys below him. He gets his cut. But is he paying the taxes for these other guys? That's illegal. It's not allowed to happen that way. And what started that was a lot of small businesses seeing it as a shortcut to get out of workman's comp, out of paying taxes, and trying to make more money for themselves. You will not survive as a business that way. You will get in trouble. You might say, well, John, how do you know? Well, I've actually, many, many years ago, had the Federal Labor Board come in and shut my office down for 2 days, going through all my documentation, all my files. And in the end, I think I owed a couple employees because of some overtime situations. I ended up having to pay a total of maybe $25,000, maybe $3,000. That was it. Came out with almost flying colors. Learned a lot. It was a huge education for me. I asked a lot of questions. I wanted to educate myself and better myself and being knowledgeable on what I'm doing running a legitimate company. I'm not going to cut corners as a business. I'm not going to jeopardize losing what I've worked so hard to create. And I'm not going to jeopardize this situation because of all the employees I have working for me. Because if I get shut down, guess what? They lose their jobs. There's no work. Now they got to find something else. So as an employer, I'm looking at my situation. Not only am I working on keeping work going and making money, I've got to make sure every one of my employees has a paycheck every Friday. Every Friday, they're covered with workman's comp if they get hurt on the job. I have to take care of them. So when you look at the grand scheme of things as an employer, I've got to make sure that they have a check that pays their rent, that they're able to be self-sustained with rent, food, taking care of their kids, whatever they need to do. Now, if I've got employees working for me and they're struggling paycheck to paycheck, that's not a good situation. That means their personal life is struggling and that's going to affect their work life. So how do I deal with this? I talk to each of these individuals. What's going on? Maybe with what they're doing with their tax situation, we can tweak their percentage of taxes that they're having taken out so they have a little more money in their pocket every Friday versus at the end of the year filing their taxes and getting a big lump check back. Maybe that's the difference. You know, I got guys working for me that they got like between $6,000 and $12,000 back at the end of the year on their taxes. But yet they were concerned about their paychecks. They weren't making enough each week. They need more money. Well, let's tweak the percentage coming out of your weekly paycheck. So instead of getting that big lump at the end of the year, it's coming into your pocket every week to make you more comfortable. There's a lot of ways to make this work. These are the things that we're looking for to help you out. So what other pros and cons are there to being a 1099 worker versus W-2 versus cash on the table? As a W-2 employee, we have structure with our hours. As a 1099 employee, as an employer, what a lot of people don't realize is I can set the schedule, but as a 1099 employee, I can't make you wear a company shirt. Some people think they can. You're not allowed to force somebody to wear a company shirt if you're a 1099 employee. As far as the hours you work, there's structure around that, but we can't force the hours. So there's a lot of disadvantages to hiring a subcontractor as a 1099 out there to work under us as a painting contractor. I'm not even going to go down that route. So what I always tell people when we're working for cash on the table, you know, it's many, many years ago, I started out my business. I was working for somebody else and I was doing side job making cash. That's one thing. But as I went forward with this as a legitimate company, I knew I had to be licensed, bought, and insured. I knew I had to pay my taxes. That's just part of life. That's part of adulthood. That's part of owning your own business. What I realized is it's difficult. You know, I want to make some extra money on the side. I'm working for a company, painting Monday through Friday. What can I do evenings and weekends? Well, I started painting for myself. Started making a little bit of extra cash on the side, painting a bedroom here and there, painting an exterior of a house here and there. It wasn't sustainable as far as full-time employment. Couldn't do that. But eventually got to a point where I was doing more and more side work, more and more evenings and weekend work, to the point to where I was making more money than I was working for the company I was Monday through Friday. If you're going to proceed with starting your own business and doing something like that, do not do side jobs. It's amazing how many guys I've seen that they call out on a Monday and I find out, well, they were trying to wrap up a side job that they had on the weekend. They bit off more than they could chew. So now they're taking off Monday. They're losing a day's worth of wages with me to do that side job. Now, are they making more money on that job on a weekend than they are working for me during the week? More than likely, yes. I hope they are. But that is not sustainable. There's no guarantee they're going to have one of those every single weekend. So to not jeopardize your job and not let your employer hear that, oh, he's off doing side work, that's why he's calling out, because you could lose your job for that. It's happened. I've had to do it. It would be more beneficial for you to explain to the homeowner that you're working for or whatever job you're doing to say, hey, I'm doing this on the side. I can't jeopardize my regular job. I gave you a smoking deal compared to what you pay through anybody else. Would you be okay if I come back next Saturday and finish this up? I guarantee you a lot of times they're going to be understanding. They're going to let you do it. Think about these decisions before you go into them. You want to do the right thing to where you're not going to lose your regular job. Because now then you're looking for a new job if you get let go because of that. We've had guys in the past do so much side work, and we've had to let them go because it's affecting their regular job. I have a schedule to keep with my general contractors I do our jobs for. I have to make sure that we're on schedule. And if you're constantly calling out because of your own personal side jobs and it's affecting my jobs, I don't need you at that point. At that point, you need to think about maybe working for somebody different, or maybe it's time to break off on your own and go ahead and go 100% legit. Go get your license, get license bonded insured, and start your own company. It could be time for that if it's affecting your regular job that much. If I have to fire someone because of that, I would take a serious look at what you're doing, how much work you're doing, and consider starting to work for yourself. I've seen guys do it in the past. You hit a certain point where you have to go off on your own. There's so much work out there. If you would come to me and say, John, I've been working for you. I really want to get licensed, bond insured. I want to go down this route. If you're working for me, I'm going to help you do that. I want my guys to succeed. I want to get everybody that works for me up to my level. There's nothing wrong with that. If I can teach them how to run a legitimate business and do it the right way, that just creates better competition for me out there. There is so much work out there. We don't even bid a fraction of what there's so much you can't even keep up with it. We only bid a fraction of what's out there. So, and we don't do any residential. We're mostly commercial. So most of the guys that break off from working for me start their own residential painting companies. I have no problems helping them become a legitimate business. Let's do it together. I'm going to direct you the right way. I'm going to help you go take that test. I'm going to tell you how I did it with my business. I'm going to direct you the right way so you don't get in trouble. But it's amazing. I've done that in the past with some guys, and some guys will do it the right way. They'll follow the direction. They'll follow the recipe that I've laid out that does work, and I've proven that it works. They'll decide to go off on their own. Well, I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to keep doing it the way I'm doing it, and maybe I won't get licensed and bonded, and I'll just keep doing it cash under the table. And they don't realize that that's not sustainable. In the long run, it will not work. What does it affect you in the long run? Well, it affects your Social Security. It affects many things. It affects your retirement. I know with my business, I'm set up for retirement. I know my business will continue to run and bring me a paycheck much, much longer after it's time for me to retire. So I know what's out there for me. I know what is sustainable. My business is my retirement. I can collect a paycheck off my business every Friday for the rest of my life as long as my business is sustainable and running. I won't need Social Security. No one's going to dictate to me who my insurance company is, where I can live, what I'm going to eat. I dictate that by creating my own destiny within my company. So if you're going to do this and you're going to go out there on your own and create your own situation, your own business, let's do it the right way. Let's do it together. Let me help you get to that point. I want you to be as successful as me. That's the goal with this. That's the goal in business, to bring others up to my level. And if I can create a situation to where there's 100 other businesses out there just like me, all running legit, all running their business the way a business is supposed to be run, at that point, it's a better competition. There's nothing I hate worse than, I see the bids. It's amazing when we bid a job and there's 4 people bidding on a commercial job, and there's 3 of us all within, on a $50,000 job, we're all within $1,000 of each other, and you get one guy that comes in at $30,000. He's $20,000 less than everybody else. And I have to look at it and think, okay, either he missed something on the proposal, on the bid, or he's paying his guys cash under the table, or he's cutting corners. He's not running a successful business. I don't want to bid against those guys. They're always going to be out there. We can't get rid of that completely. But if I can get everybody to the level of running a legitimate business to where we're all equal in what we're doing, we're all equal in paying our taxes, paying our employees a proper way, it creates a more lucrative system for everybody. We all get different pricing on our paint depending on how much we buy. It's a commodity. I might get better pricing than someone else because of the amount of paint I buy, or someone else might get a better price than I do because they're buying more than me. It's all about quantity. So there is that factor. The other factor is, everybody needs to make a different percentage on their jobs of what they're trying to make. So when it comes to running a business, we all have different dynamics that we look at. My overhead could be different than somebody else's. I have a much larger office and shop that I rent and pay for. I have more vehicles. Some companies don't provide vehicles for their employees. They have to drive themselves. As the years have gone on, we buy more and more vehicles. I'm trying to get all my lead painters in vehicles. That changes. Some companies don't do that. Some companies will require them to have their own spray equipment, their own ladders. We don't. We provide all that. So that's going to adjust in the pricing of how somebody bids a job. Bottom line is, I want everybody to be successful. Everybody from the employee, the guy just walking through the door starting tomorrow, to the business owners out there that are taking care of their employees the right way. And it amazes me that some of the people that are replying to some of the comments on our post and our podcast and talking about the companies they work for or how they're doing business, dude, get out of there. If it is a bad environment, if it's toxic, you're not happy there, it's time to make a change. Look for something new. You want to work for somebody that's going to take care of you. That's the goal. I want to be happy. I want guys to come work for me that say, this is the last place I'm ever going to work. I found a home. This is it. And as employers, and if you're a business owner out there listening to this right now and thinking, wow, no, I need employees. It's a revolving door. That's the way it's going to be. You need to change the way you think. Because I'm telling you right now, my best employees are the ones that are the happiest, that I take care of, that say they're going to spend their entire career with my company. That's the employee I want. The employee that's constantly growing, that's trying to be better, that wants to be there. This is a career. This is a home. And if you're treating your employees and you can't understand why they don't stick with you, you need to take an inner look at yourself as an employer. What are you doing wrong? I always tell my guys that work for me, if somebody gets a raise and you feel like you should have gotten a raise and you didn't, stop thinking that you're better than that person, or if they didn't get that position, they didn't get picked for the superintendent. Well, I could have been a better superintendent. I don't know why they got picked and not me. Stop right there, take an inner look at yourself and say, what am I not doing that they're doing to get that position? What do I need to change in my work? How do I need to better myself? Maybe it's a list of 10 things that take zero talent that I got to change. Maybe I need to take an inner look at that. Maybe that's what has to change. It goes with the employees moving up in position. It goes with us as employers looking at our situation. Well, what could I have done differently? How do I need to change to retain employees? Maybe my company's making great money, but I can't keep employees. That's what I need to change. Start looking, taking an inner look at your business of what is happening out there. What do I need to change within my company to better us? How do I change something within the company to keep the employees working for me? I want to retain guys. I want this to become a career for them. I want them to find a better opportunity with me than any other company out there. So how do I create that environment? That's what I have to research. That's what I have to do an inner look. Me and some of the guys that work for me, and 2 employees I have are now part owners of the company that started out with me for many, many years ago. We sit down and we talk about this on a weekly basis. What do we need to change? How are we taking care of our employees? What can we make better for them? Maybe it's just in the morning in the back of the shop, having a coffee machine back there so they can get coffee in the morning. What does that really cost us as a business? We can afford that. Let's make our guys happy. Make sure they have coffee. I've got a coffee machine back there. I got an industrial ice machine for the guys to fill up their water jugs in the summer. We're in Arizona. It gets hot out here. We need to make sure our guys are hydrated. So I've created a environment where they have the necessities of what they need to be happy. Maybe it's helping them get a ride to work. How do we fix that situation? Can I afford another truck? Can I buy another truck to make sure my guys get to work? Find somebody that's reliable with a driver's license that's going to be able to pick up 2 or 3 other guys and make sure everybody's on time. I'm telling you right now, it has changed the way my business runs by putting things in place to make guys more successful and to make them happy. Everything from a coffee maker in the back of the shop to an ice machine in the back of the shop. Everything from buying, I think in the last year and a half, 22 more trucks to make sure that guys are getting rides to work. The number one excuse that drives me nuts is, I got a flat tire. Everybody gets a flat tire. I hear that more than any other excuse out there why guys aren't showing up on time. Okay, well, guess what? You're driving my company truck. We're going to make sure we have a company truck. You're going to pick up these 2 other guys. You're going to be reliable. If you can't do it, that company truck's going to be taken away and given to somebody else. So find the guys that are reliable. Find the guys that are the leaders, and you start putting them with other guys, and you'll start to see the change in the other guys. It starts at the top and works its way down. I'm going to lead to the best of my ability. I'm going to teach the guys under me how to be good leaders too, and lead in each position to the point to where it rolls all the way downhill. I'm going to constantly remind you guys out there, I want to build everybody up to my level. You as business owners out there, as companies, don't micromanage. Build these guys up to your level. You will see a change within your company, within your industry. It's going to be amazing. I've watched the growth and changes over the past couple of years in my business, and it has been astronomical. I would say in the last 2 years, we've grown 1,000%. If I had to pinpoint what changed it, I can't even begin to tell you how amazed I am that the changes we made were the simplest. You don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get these changes. It's just not treating your employees like a number. It's getting involved with them, being engaged with them. Me being at shop in the morning when everybody shows up between 4:30 and 5:30 and shaking everyone's hand, asking them how their weekend was this morning. Today's Monday morning. Every single guy, how was your weekend? What'd you do? Did you have fun? Are you happy to be at work? They come to work because they're happy. They want to be there. That's the change. Create an environment where your employees want to be there, not where they dread coming there. It's amazing all the jokes I see on social media, all the comments of people out there about their jobs and how they hate their jobs and what they're dealing with. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that from my employees. I want to know that they're happy, that they're engaged in what they're doing. They know that the leaders within the company are engaged in their situations and their lives. I teach all my superintendents to do the same thing. One of the roles I have is, our superintendents oversee between 4 and 5 jobs, sometimes a couple more, a couple less, depends on the workload. One thing we teach our superintendents, if they go on a job and there's 3 guys on that job, they're required to spend 10 minutes every day with each employee on each job site, working side by side. So if a superintendent shows up to a job and he's there for an hour and there's 3 painters, 30 minutes were spent with those 3 painters, 10 minutes with each, getting to help them, see where they're struggling, get to talk to them, ask them about their day, get to know them on a personal level. If they see that they're struggling cutting in with a brush or rolling, they're going to help them. That's what they're there for. And you will be amazed at the changes that you will see on these job sites. The jobs will become more profitable. Your employees will become more engaged. Your superintendents are more engaged with what's going on. They're more aware of the job cost of what they're dealing with. You will see so many changes within your company, and you'll be shocked. I know I have been. It amazes me how the simplest changes made the difference for our growth in what we're doing. And it's just caring about the people that work for you, caring about the employees. That's all it takes. So what are you going to do in the next couple of weeks to change your company? What are you going to do as a business owner to make your employees feel appreciated? It's the small changes, I'm telling you. Don't make it about the money. Make it about the employee. Care about the employee, you'll see the changes. Get engaged with the employee, you will see the changes. Just give them the time that they deserve. Don't get so self-absorbed in what you're doing every day that you lose sight of the people that work for you. And you guys as employees out there, you have to think about the company you're working for. If you're working for a guy that all he cares about is his bottom line, about making money, he doesn't care about your safety when you're concerned about going up and down on a ladder. If you're on a boom or scissor lift, he doesn't provide you with the safety harness that you requested. Don't get up there. Don't do it. Worry about your safety. Worry about your protection. Do not work for the guy that doesn't care about your safety. All he cares about is the money that he's making. You don't want to work for that guy. It's not going to be a good situation. Work for somebody that you're happy to be there. Work for somebody that you know this could be a career, that you can work there for many, many years. And maybe you're only there 10 years and you move on to the next thing. Maybe it's time to start your own business at that point. You've learned enough. Grow within that company. It's amazing how many guys say, oh, the grass is greener on the other side, or they jump ship to go make 50 cents more an hour, $1 more an hour. If you would have just stuck with the company you were with and grew within that company, the money will come, the education will come, you can eventually move up in position. Think about the growth within yourself and or do you bring value to that company? I want to know my employees bring value to their situation. I want to know they're valuable enough to where I'm worried about losing them because they're so good at what they do that anybody will hire them out there. That tells me I've gotten them to the next level where they need to be. Because 95% of my employees that come on board, we've started them at the very bottom, teaching them what they need to know to become a painter. Majority of my employees, the guys that work for me, started out with zero knowledge in the paint industry. We started them through our vocational program and we grow within the company. I will never, ever, ever hire outside the company for a superintendent, estimator, project manager. We grow within the company. And that is a guarantee that I've promised myself, and it has made a world of difference. For you business owners out there, if your employees know that you promote within and you grow within and do not hire outside the company, they're going to try 10 times harder for that position. They're going to educate themselves. They're going to realize this. It changes the whole environment around you within the business. We need to focus on our employees. We need to focus on their growth, not just in business, in their personal life. Get involved with them. Understand what makes them tick. Understand why they're working for you. Where's their money going? What are they struggling with? What are their needs or wants out of life? You're going to understand a little bit more about them. You're going to be able to help them more within the growth of your business. I got guys in the past that I've hired that were business owners, and I put them in the estimating positions, the superintendent positions. Every one of them failed. There's a reason why they weren't working for their own business anymore. They failed as a business owner. They still thought that they knew how to run a business. They would come in and tell me, well, John, you got to do it this way. Here's how we did it in my business. Doesn't always work. There's a reason you don't have your business anymore. There's a reason ours is so successful and we're sustainable and we've been in business for the amount of years that we've been in, because we're constantly growing and we take care of our employees. We will always take care of our employees first, and we will grow from there. That is a guarantee, and that's what's made us so successful. And that's why we're going to continue to be successful. So if you're out there, I want to leave you guys with a message here for you employees. Make sure you're working for a company that you're happy with, and they take care of you, and they take an interest in you as a person. And for you employers out there that are hiring guys, start taking an interest in your employees. I'm telling you, it will change the way your business will run. It will change, your profit margins will increase and you won't even realize it's happening. It'll just naturally happen because of what's going on. It's organic. You take care of your employees as if they are your first customer, because they are. And if you can learn to do that, you will see changes in your business that you never knew could happen. You're going to grow like you've never grown before. It is possible, and it works. Everybody's worried about trying to figure out ways to grow their business. It starts at the bottom and works its way up. You will see the changes. Don't go out there and pay these companies thousands and thousands of dollars to come in and help you revamp your company or change what you're doing. Start within. Start with your employees. Grow right there. Once again, guys, thank you for joining me on this journey with me with this podcast, and hopefully you can learn something from this. And if you have any questions, concerns, if you're an employer out there hiring guys, you want to learn how I did my business, how I grew it, feel free to reach out to me. I'm an open book. I'm going to share everything I did to grow this business. And you guys as employees out there, find the right business. Have a great day. Stay hungry.